Here's the thing. Every creator will face this choice, but not a lot of them will make it consciously. And that is, how original do you want to be? For myself, I've realized over the last year and a half is that just copying others as a long-term strategy for creativity, it's not enough. And I would rather fail originally than copy others and succeed. Welcome back to episode 4 of Creator Talk. Today I'm going to be diving into why original creativity is so important, why not to do it, the alternative, which is copying others, a hard truth that this all leads to, and an action plan moving forward for you. I remember a year ago I had this video that I was working on. I was excited about it. I felt like it was a really good idea. And what I did is I looked out into the YouTube space to see, okay, what are other educators doing? And what I ended up with is basically copying their structure, their format, how they talk, and what they say, but just about my own topic. And after the fact, it actually performed better than almost any of my other videos, but that wasn't enough. Because I felt hollow inside looking at that creative work. Because I knew in my mind it wasn't as original as it could have been. And that was the beginning of me realizing that what's more important than succeeding out in the world is a feeling of inner success, like I am full from my creative work. And I recognize that to get there, I gotta copy. And what I mean is, when I was learning violin as a kid, I played thousands, maybe tens of thousands of different scales, as well as playing hundreds of songs that other people wrote, basically just copying what's on the page. But because of that, I can create melodies and feelings through my violin that are so unique to me that I couldn't have done if I wouldn't have copied. But here is why originality is so important. For one, do you care about being on the pioneering edge of humanity? If you don't, you've probably tuned out by now. But if you do, there's something in you that wants to make something come into the world that's never been there before. Something that's you. Something that's expressed from who you are. And there's a deep satisfaction there that you can't get anywhere else. Another reason to be original in your creative art is because the impact that we can make with something unique that came through us that nobody else can do is an impact that nobody else could have. Like, if I can create a song that connects people with what they're capable of in a way that makes them cry because it's so authentic, I can't think of a single person that could do that but me. And if they could, hopefully they would have their own flavor of it, not just copying me or me copying them. And you gotta think, do you want to experience things nobody else has experienced? Do you want to be a pioneer? Do you want to discover things that nobody else has discovered? Because it's going to come with some downsides. Because it's going to take longer. It's going to be harder. It's going to be harder to articulate to others because you're in it, figuring it out, and it's untested. I think of Lewis and Clark, the explorers. See, they had an expedition they went on into uncharted territory, and they came across obstacles that they tried to prepare for, but they couldn't have been prepared for. And it was hard. It took a long time. And nowadays, I could take a flight from where they started all the way to where they ended in a few hours. But here's the thing. What would I miss? I would miss the journey that they got to go on, the exploration they got to experience, the growth that they went through as people. Because copying others works. There are massive channels on YouTube that are not doing really anything original. All they're doing is looking at what smaller creators are doing that outperforms their normal stuff and making their own version of it a little bit better because they can. And that works for them. But even though it's faster, even though it's easier to articulate to others, even though it's easier, the funny thing is that even though those ideas are validated, they can still fail. And that brings us to a hard truth. Copying others can fail. But so can originality. So what do we choose? When my mind is, if originality fills me up and copying others leaves me feeling empty, and I can fail at both, I'm going to choose originality even though it's harder. And here's how. By copying others until I don't need to. And then from that point, I'll be able to use what I learned to create things nobody else has created before. Look, not everybody else wants to be original. I get that. Not everybody wants to create something that nobody else has created before, and that's okay. But you've got to be honest with yourself. How important is it to you to create original things? Here's your action plan. I want you to make time today to sit down without distractions and ask yourself, how important is it for me to create original work? Ask yourself that. Answer that question. And then ask yourself, what does that look like? And then think about, what do I want to create long term? Like, in 10 years, what kind of work do I want to be creating? And then you've got all that in your mind. You ask yourself, if I could have this right now, would I take it? Would you take it? If you could just magically have original work that you could be creating 10 years from now, would you take it? If you would, choose it. Make that choice to become an original creator. I recognize that making that choice doesn't actually make you original creator, but it sets you on the path. And this leads to the next hurdle, which is, okay, you want to create something, but you don't know what to create, and you don't have any clarity about what it is. What do? Well, I made a video for you. It's a unique perspective on how to face the fact that your art will be shitty in the beginning. And that's actually a good thing. And you can check that out right here. And that's it for today. So thank you for watching, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.